Yeah, let's talk to Khalil, who is our first caller, been waiting on the line the longest. Is it Khalil? Is that how we pronounce it?
Yes, it's Khalil Parkinson, yeah.
Hey, Khalil. Nice to meet you. Thank you for calling in. What do you want to talk about?
Scientific evidence that supports the Bible.
All right. Well, that would be nice.
And different.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
I've always noticed that I've been debating like atheists over maybe like 10 years now on Facebook groups. And It's like there's always seemed to be the same type of argument stemming from them. And I also noticed a lot of problems. I think like a lot of atheists are like they have a psychological problem against religion.
Well, I think that's I think that's an easy way to write them off. But you're talking to two atheists right now, and we may have different opinions. What would you like to talk to us about?
Well, like, okay, genetic predisposition. The Bible claims that all men are sinners or have some kind of enmity against God because of what one man did, Adam. Okay, Adam ate the fruit, and this caused the children or his offspring to duplicate the same genes that he basically, started. Like, for instance, like let's use this example: addiction. You notice everybody knows that people can get addicted to things, to anything basically. But the more famous addictions are drug addictions.
Khalil?
Right? Yes.
How much do you know about genetics?
I know briefly from actually life experience, meeting people who claim that their parents were drug addicts or alcoholics, and they end up being alcoholics and stuff. Okay.
Sure.
We know that.
I understand that people can be more and less susceptible to addiction. You're specifically talking about genetics, and so you can have a genetic predisposition to things like diabetes. You can have a genetic disposition towards, something like cancer, and other health risks, things like that. But you're specifically talking about sin. And so before we go anywhere, we need to have a clear idea of what those definitions are, or else we're going to talk past each other. What is sin, Khalil?
Well, according to the Bible, sin is falling short of God's his laws, I guess. Okay. Like the ability to
Yeah. I have a question. Yes. Does everyone fall short, or are there some people that make the bar?
Everyone, according to the claim of the Bible, everyone.
Okay. So using your answer that everyone falls short, then there's no concern about genetics or descendancy because everyone falls short anyway. So you just refuted your own statement.
Because everyone falls short because they're from Adam. We all.
But that's fine. But the fact that you brought up parents and children doesn't matter. The whole genetics doesn't matter because everyone falls short. So there's no distinction between this person and that person. They all fall short based on what you said.
We all fall short, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know why genetics even comes into it.
The Bible that's genetics also because we fall short because I'm stating like it's a contamination. We are contaminated by a sinful gene because of Adam.
Okay, Khalil.
Contamination causes us to be sinners. Yeah.
Hey, where in DNA is sin? Where's the contamination? Can you point it out to me, please? Have you looked at DNA sequencing? Could you find where the sin is in there?
Well, I don't think we have the ability to recognize what it is, but we can see it.
No, you're looking for it because you're motivated to, Khalil. Let me tell you something, man. If you were to actually look into genetics, hold on, Khalil. If you were to actually look into genetics, you would find that there was never a time where there was one human, one man and one woman, because that would be such a small amount of genetic diversity that we would have died off. There's never been a time where there was just one. And also, there's never been a time when you can point and say that's a definitive human, because you can see this slow progression as speciation occurred in our history. You can see it in fossils. So if you're pointing towards history, hold on, if you're pointing towards science, then you're throwing out a whole lot so you can point out something that a dirty gene So if you're going to make the claim, then show it to me. Where's the gene? How come you haven't taken this to a university?
Well, how come I may in the future.
Good, you should.
Maybe, yeah.
Perfect. I mean, do you know where it is?
An atheist will admit that he doesn't even know where life comes from.
Does that have anything to do with your claim, Khalil? Before you start moving the goalposts, please, at least be responsible for your own claim before you start changing things. I mean, if you want to move the goalposts and talk about abiogenesis, that's fine. But don't pretend like you're not.
Okay.
So let's finish with the gene thing. You made a claim that is a scientific claim. You said there is somewhere in our genetics, somewhere in our DNA, that you can find sin. I do not believe you. And I don't think I should believe you until you can show it.
Of course you don't believe it because you reject, but you reject out of ignorance because you, of course, no atheists have any answers to any question.
I think there's a gene that makes me God.
You have any alternative answers?
There's a gene that makes me God, and I don't have to prove it to you because I believe it.
And also, he can't refute it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can say anything.
Okay.
Khalil, yeah, as long as we're just pulling stuff out, then Phil's allowed to do that. Why don't you actually back up your assertion? Try again, please.
Okay. Back up my... All right.
Here's an assertion. My name is Eric.
Yeah.
I can back that up. I can show you my driver's license. I can make other assertions. This glass is filled with water and not gin. We can investigate it.
My backup, like the history of life or mankind. Like, do you remember recent history? The Stalins, the Hitlers.
So, are you saying are you saying that biologists and geneticists look at the history of Stalin and Hitler to understand DNA?
They didn't change DNA, did they?
I'm claiming sin, and I'm saying the result of sin is history. The violence.
Yeah, but you're changing the topic.
Those are the examples.
You were talking about.
Those are examples of.
No, you were talking about DNA.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it seems like you don't really know what DNA is.
I mean, would you like to change?
I said genetic preposition.
Got it.
Predisposition.
Yes. Do you know what a gene is?
Okay. Well, you can see genetic predisposition.
No.
As you explained, right? A diabetic person can transfer that gene to his sibling.
Can?
Yes. And an alcoholic.
Well, not to their siblings, to their children. I couldn't
children.
Give my brother diabetes.
An alcoholic can transfer the same predisposition to a.
But it doesn't even matter because you said everyone is a sinner. So why do you even care about the DNA if everyone is just by default a sinner?
See, here's my concern.
Everyone is a sinner because of the genes. Because we all inherit the gene of Adam and Eve.
See, it's much stronger when you stick to what you know.
It's a simple claim.
But if you know it, then you can talk about it. If you don't know it, say I don't know. But when you start shooting off half-cocked and not able to actually back up a single thing to a lay degree.
Why? Because I can't back it up scientifically? How can science find that out? Science is limited. What is science? Well, how can science know everything?
Well, where in the Bible does it say DNA?
Well, yeah, you said there's scientific proof. So are you taking science off the table entirely, Khalil?
You started with science.
Well, yeah. I'm not taking it off the table.
Okay, so then what the hell did that statement you just made have to say?
Science is worthless. Why did you bring it up?
Yeah.
Oh, I said it's limited. You're like changing my words. I said science is limited.
Okay, so it's limited.
Science will not find out.
How is it limited?
Science doesn't even know that how the universe got here. They don't even know what was before the Big Bang.
So by not knowing something, they know nothing?
Yeah, apparently we keep moving away from DNA. Khalil, contact the university, check out some biology, open up a textbook, look into it, and if you can't find sin in the genetic structure, what I suggest you do is remove that from your arguments because you could have had some really good arguments. But
aren't you? Are we just debating religion? Sin is a biblical argument.
That's not you. No,
you made a science argument.
Yeah, you came in and said that it's in our genes. We asked you where. You said science is limited. What that is telling me is you have.
I don't believe science has answers. I don't believe you can. Yeah.
What that means is you made a statement. You got called out on it. And instead of backing it up, you said, well, science doesn't know everything. That is not evidence for your claim. You need to back up a claim if you make the claim. So next time when you call in, make a biblical argument. Talk about the Bible, but don't say you can co-opt science and then not do it. Is there anything else you want to say?
I'm good.
Would you like to?
Yeah, okay.
Feels good, doesn't it?
That was easy.
Yeah.
It felt that's a sexy button,
isn't it? It's the power.
It's plasticky, but it's not. It's got a really good tactile thing.
It's just
tactile.
There's some. Yeah. Definitely.
It's like a good keyboard. You know, it bounces back just a little bit.
Nice and clicky.
Clickety clickety, but not too loud. You don't want clickety clackety. You just want clickety clickety.
Yeah. All right.
That was rough.
You know,
you contradict yourself.
I usually have much more patience, but he kept using words and not being able to actually stay in that realm. He kept, well, here's science. Okay, let's talk science. Well, science doesn't know everything. Well, then why did you bring up science?
It's a thing that I see all the time where people make an unsubstantiated claim without knowing that it's completely and totally unsubstantiated. And I've recently found, and I experienced this on Facebook, on other topics, it's not just religion. Humans have this problem, and I'm probably included in that mix. One of the most dangerous things you can ask somebody is, how do you know that? Because then they're offended. You're questioning them. Yes, yeah. I am questioning you. That what you said sounds odd to me, sounds strange to me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want more information.
Yeah, or I'm interested, right? I had somebody just before this episode, just before we sat down, wanting to talk to me about politics and what's going on in the elections. And there's just so much. And I'm like, okay, I want to know more. Give me more. You know,
the fact that I'm asking you for more information is a sign that I'm paying attention to you. I'm not ignoring you. And people will see it that way, that I'm ignoring you or attacking you. I'm asking for more information because I want to have a conversation. And I don't want to just sit there and have you make unsubstantiated claims. And that's not a conversation.
You know, I think there's one other thing that I really want to tack on here because I think that it's a good epistemic tool for people to have. And that is when you're talking to somebody, when you're bringing up arguments, if you hear this style, and the style is, here's my claim, you need to provide a counter argument.
Right.
I know how the universe came about. It came about by God. If you disagree with me, then you have to know the answer. That's not true.
Yeah.
And I know I've brought up the gumball analogy.
Yeah.
Lots of times. We've got our gumballs right up here.
I'm aware. 666 of them.
Did you count them?
Yes. Were you there?
Were you there? Here's how I know you're full of shit.
I replaced it. I know, it's
glued shut.
It's PVC glue, I can smell it. I replaced it. This is a totally new one. The old one had 666, and I put 666 in this one.
God damn it, Phil. If you don't know, say I don't know, but don't assume that just because you have a claim that you are better for it. Have a good reason for your claim.
It's funny because on that crazy, wacky argument line that I just made, I'll have people talk about evolution and abiogenesis, and they'll say something like, "Were you there?" Yeah. Right? And what I do is I say, "Yes, I was." And they're like, "What? You couldn't be there?" And I go, "And now you're a skeptic, right?" I was there. And I know you weren't there.
Because I was there.
Because
and
I was there. And so, yes, I was there. I saw it. And it just wraps their head around. And they want to start to try to get you to prove evidence that you were there. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now you want evidence.
Well, you know, I did it. And I very, very quickly found that now I was being the dishonest interlocutor. And while it helps to shine the light on their own issue, now, as long as you can wrap them in and go, you're right, that's the wrong thing to do. You probably should not do that. Let's not do that together.
It was funny. I used to live in Champaign, Illinois, and when people would ask me, religious people would ask me questions like, can you explain genetics? Can you explain abiogenesis? Can you explain evolution to me? And I would say, gosh, where can we find someone who really knows this content? There's this giant university with 50,000 students. Maybe there's someone there that knows. So if your desire is to really understand genetics, talk to a geneticist. You're calling an atheist show to say, oh yeah, well, prove me wrong. It doesn't mean you know anything if we know nothing. It could be that we know nothing and you know nothing.
Yeah. And that's a damn scary thing.
It is.
But it is what it is.